I've got a confession for you. I'm a wreck of a human being. I've been divorced, never had a normal relationship, faced a jury of my peers, made a lot of terrible decisions knowing the consequences, but the intoxication of just experiencing something that most people wouldn't get to in their life was just way too much for me. I've had an oil jug melt into my face, a dog rip my upper lip apart, and a knife blade shoved in my arm. All of them are consequences of my own actions. I produce a lot of media and I check the comments. And out of 1,000 praises, the ones that stick with me are the hurtful names. And they hurt because I feel like I deserve those much more than the thank yous that I get. And there's this people-pleasing part of me that I hate, but I want the internet trolls to like me. So why am I telling you this? You're probably a perfect stranger we've never met before in our lives. I'm telling you the worst parts of me because I think it's you too. The circumstances are probably different, but there's something that you regret, or at the very least, something that you hide from the general public. I started Longterm because I wanted to know the secret. How is it that so many people who had the harshest lives and did the hardest drugs somehow were able to rehabilitate and recover and become some of the happiest and most goal-driven people I've ever seen in my life? To become this beacon of unrecognizable humility and kindness that is just so uncommon. They seem so much happier than the average financial advisor with the white picket fence. How did they learn to break the cycle, to find peace in themselves, and then to create a career where they're helping others do the same? Over time, I realized that while resources are short for people in recovery, what is available is some of the most rehabilitative and mind-healing operations that you've never heard about. We're all suffering from something, and I don't care what your Instagram page looks like. The best way to learn how to heal your wounds is to find the ones who have the scars. So today, I want to walk you through the Recovery Centers of Arkansas. It's one name that covers 3 separate locations, each with a separate focus, but all of it for the same purpose of healing those with wounds to learn to help heal others. And I get it if that's too uncomfortable. But aren't you at least curious about what resources could be available to all of us? Stick with me until the end, and I promise you'll be blown away. Down an offshoot of Baseline Road in Little Rock, Arkansas, Adam Reynolds met me with the start of a touring day of all 3 facilities of the Recovery Centers of Arkansas.
And renovating into a 32-bed.
Adam is the Director of Outreach and Development for RCA. I was going in knowing nothing and hoping that by the end of our time together, I could have a very well-informed view of what happens here and why it's important.
So we have just over 11 acres here. Of course, we have a annex building, which there's a little over 7,000 foot metal annex or warehouse down here that we're going to be converting and renovating into a 32-bed men's facility.
Wow.
Yeah, so the need is continuing to grow in Arkansas, and we're trying to do whatever we can to, meet the needs of people that we serve.
Are there any benefits to building down here in this area? I noticed you're off a Baseline.
Well, we like to think so. The primary reason is because of our state funding that we have. There's some primary catchment areas. So Pulaski, Saline, Lone Oak, and Prairie counties are the areas for the people that would utilize underserved populations that are going to utilize state-funded treatment. And so we want to stay really centrally located to be able to continue to provide that. And it goes the same for our DCFS contract as well. So, yeah.
Okay, great.
And it's off the beaten path,
It is,
Close enough to everything.
Right.
Samara Miller-Nolan is the Director of Marketing for RCA. She explained that even though RCA is the primary facility for state-funded treatment in this area, their commitment is that everyone gets the same level of care, regardless of their funding status. For residents who may not have the funding, they work with partners like Ideal Options or Our Care to make sure that people are still receiving the essential services like therapy. That means a single standard of quality treatment for everyone who walks through their door.
Right. Sam chose the hot pink. We want to be sure that it pops when people walk in.
I like to make a statement.
You do, yeah.
The first stop on our tour was the women's facility, which they call the Cottage. This hot pink interior is definitely a statement. It's cheerful, it's unexpected, and it stands out. But the real foundation of recovery here is built on creating a sense of sisterhood and safety inside these walls. The women's facility is where residents live throughout their initial phase of residential treatment, but it's built to feel less like a clinical facility and more like a shared, comfortable home. Everything is designed to reintroduce structure, routine, and most importantly, emotional stability.
Some of the things that we've done to be innovative to try to help more people access the treatment services that we have is we've converted some of our sober living rooms into PHP rooms. So person steps down out of residential care and they don't have that supportive housing to step into while engaging in PHP. We're going to provide that housing for them. We're going to provide the transportation. We're going to provide them food. It's for 30 days, but it's free of charge to them, but it's made a huge difference in our continuum of care to be able to provide that supportive housing for that step down level.
We wrapped up at the Cottage and headed to the second location. The Oasis Renewal Center is nestled on 48 acres of mostly untouched land in West Little Rock, offering a remote, quiet, and confidential space that feels entirely separated from daily life. Its rustic log cabin housing, a main lodge, and scenic walking trails around two lakes creates an atmosphere where peace and reflection are the priority. As soon as we parked, we met one of the most important people here, the chef.
We got a cabin open.
Okay, yeah, great. Yeah, look at the full experience, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, for sure.
Adam explained how the Recovery Centers of Arkansas acquired Oasis.
So in 2010, RCA made the purchase of the Oasis.
Okay.
And so it used to be a Christian-based camp. And so throughout the entire campus, you're gonna see.
I saw the Hebrew lettering over there on the signs.
You're gonna
see it throughout the
yeah.
whole.
Okay.
And so we really encompass, all different walks.
Yeah.
So we have 48 acres here. On it, we have 4 different cabins. We have a therapist cabin. We have an admissions cabin. And we have a house on the hill that is the outpatient house, and so we're going to get a chance to walk through all of those here.
Oh, great.
And then we have several, there's probably just over a mile or so of trails that go through the woods and things like that. And there's different meditation points throughout the trails that the people that we're serving here can stop and meditate. We have a labyrinth over here. Over on the peninsula that goes out into the main lake here.
Okay.
Of course, we don't allow swimming, but we allow lots of fishing, and there's lots of big fish.
Nice.
Yeah, catch and release, release.
So it doesn't feel like you're in Little Rock right here. You know what I mean? Like it feels like you're on Beijing Mountain or something.
Right there, the chaos, and then you turn off that road and you come here. And there are some subdivisions around. RCA worked really close with the Property Owners Association, and every month there would be, for the first probably at least 10 years, David Bradshaw, the executive director, was the clinical director here before he stepped into that role, and they would have monthly meetings with the PTOs. We really wanted to try to embrace the community around us and show that we're really trying to listen to their concerns, anything that they have like that. And since then, we just really been embraced, but this is like a little finger. So you are in Pulaski County. You are not in the city of Little Rock right here.
Okay.
It's just like its own little finger here. So,
nice.
Yeah, kind of cool. So, we are not faith-based, but as our executive director, David, would tell you, we have lots of faith in things. So,
Oasis is a co-ed residential treatment center that specializes in dual diagnosis, meaning that they treat both addictions and any co-occurring mental health disorders simultaneously.
The counseling side and therapy side is all person-centered. So we use an abundance of different therapies to help individuals based on their individual needs.
I met Christina, a therapist at Oasis who had been working there for 7 years, and was able to ask her some questions about how therapy works. Seeing a place like this, I'm like, I'm not even recovered, Bill. This is great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful out here, right?
It is. It's one of the things that keeps me here.
Yeah.
The campus is very healing. The curriculum is more. We talk a lot about substance abuse.
Yeah.
But we talk more about whole person.
Yeah.
And how do you do life without this substance?
Right. So that's something that has been surprising when I talk to a therapist that helps specifically with people that have substance abuse issues. I'm like, are they Do you approach it any differently than you would if somebody just stepped into your private practice? You know what I mean? For that, and you're like, well, kind of, but not really, because a lot of the times they have dual diagnosis, or there's something deeper issue that started the whole substance abuse issue in the first place. And so, how do you approach it here? I mean, obviously you're already set to be in a serene place, right? Yeah,
Well, we're very person-centered here.
yeah,
And I tell all of my clients, like, we know and can agree that substance abuse is a problem,
yeah,
but it's not the problem.
right,
It's rooted in something deeper, whether it's childhood trauma or just trauma in general, um, or possibly, attachment issues. There was something likely going on first.
sure,
And so we really, the setup here allows the recovery counselors to really focus a lot in on the substance use, and then the therapists focus in on those deeply rooted issues. And then if we're doing our jobs right, which we usually do, we communicate with each other a lot as a team. Um, the clients see that it interweaves. Like,
yeah,
there might be a day where the client comes up and they don't want to talk about their trauma. And so I'm just like, okay, well, this is your session. We use it the way you want to use it. So we might talk a whole lot about the substance abuse in a therapy session. And then just sort of talking a lot about, like, how is the substance abuse helping you?
right,
Because it's not a healthy help, but it is helping. It's short
Right.
term and it's causing consequences. And so, yeah, just sort of kind of dissecting it. And
yeah.
I tell all my clients, I come to work with a shovel. And if you really want to do the work, you should come to session with us. Then we're in it.
That's funny. It kind of turns that the other phrase on its head about recovery. I don't know if you've heard of it, but like when they say put the shovel down.
Yes.
Yeah, when it feels like you've already dug too deep. There is a rock bottom, but you don't have to do that. But yeah, dig deep in a good way. That makes complete and total sense. And so when people come to you, and they're starting the therapy sessions with you, how is it received? Like, are they willing to like open up and talk to you sort of immediately, or does it take time to grow that trust?
It depends really on the client and what they've been through. I build a lot of rapport on the very first day. I have to meet with the client on the first day that they go here to do what's called a biopsychosocial. So we dig in on day one. With the mental health stuff, I let them stay like really surface level, and I always tell them, like, not trying to open a wound. We just met, by the time
That's just good practice for everybody, with good social skills.
Right.
We just met. I'm not trying to open a wound yet.
Right.
Yeah.
By the time they get into their first like actual therapy session,
Yeah.
we've interacted on the first day. We've interacted in open process groups, so there's rapport built, and I've checked in here and there. So a lot of times the client will come in and they're just ready. They're ready to talk. They're ready to really start looking at what the root problem is. And
Yeah.
in our groups, we talk a lot about the therapy intervention. So, they'll have an idea of, like, I want to do trauma work, and I heard you do EMDR, and what is this acceptance and commitment therapy? What's CBT? So we really start treatment planning and figuring out, like, what direction do you want to go?
Yeah. It's incredible that you're doing, I guess the hard work, right? It is sort of addressing in those psychosocial sort of, areas. Like you talk about addressing, like, what are your markers and red flags and issues that you can be dealing with. But looking around this campus, there are a lot of different things that sort of engage you mentally, as well as just like it. Of course, there's fresh air and there's trees and all that stuff, but like the labyrinth out here on the right. And then I was shown the little waterfall area. It sort of drowns out the noise of everything else, even traffic that's coming by on the street. And so, lots of places where you can just sit and heal and like think clearly. And I would think, you know what I mean, and sort of meet yourself and have that conversation with yourself and work through your issues.
Absolutely. I mean, we try to utilize everything here on the campus. Last week I did a group teaching them how to use the labyrinth. And I had a client once that was really, really anxious. And so that's where we did her session.
Yeah.
We went down, we walked the labyrinth, and then we sat on yoga mats in the middle of it and had therapy.
So this is our therapist cabin. So
Okay.
that's where all of our therapists have their offices, and they can come over here and have their discreet little counseling sessions and therapy sessions in there. And there's also a little tiny group room in there. That's where we ran them out of the library, and now they're over here using it.
And, you know, one of the other big things that Recovery Centers Arkansas Oasis Renewal does, Ty, is, you know, individuals will see psychiatrists when they're here. So we have lots of doctor time that we're able to provide to the clients during their stay with us. And so that's a big deal. We're not...
What's the ratio for therapists versus the people that are here getting therapy?
There are 3 therapists and
So
3 recovery counselors.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
one
it's-
therapist and one counselor for about every 8 individuals in
Okay.
treatment.
About 1 to 8.
So when
So
you
it's
walk
very
in,
manageable.
and when
Gotcha.
you walk into our company, you're going to walk in and receive services from a therapist, a psychiatrist, which meaning a licensed therapist, a psychiatrist, and a recovery counselor. So you're going to have the entire team
Amazing.
the entire time you're here.
Yeah.
And you're going to meet with the therapist and the recovery counselor usually once to twice a week.
I'm sure it's helpful because like when you do that outside of an area like this, like you got case files, right? And so getting those people to communicate with each other is a lot harder than it would be right here on campus, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to test your cardio, man. So Ty, this is the PHP house. This is the main level. So this is one of the bigger group rooms that we have. Of course, we always have coffee bar areas set up and different things. The therapist offices are upstairs. Liz is a true story of inspiration. She was a treatment support entry level position. She's
Wow.
worked her way up.
My
Went
first
back
job.
to school, and I mean, she's killing and helping lots of people.
That was
Lots
my
of
first
people.
job in sobriety.
Yeah.
Nice.
I started there. And
Oh, so you have lived experience as well. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's incredible.
I'm alcoholic.
Yeah.
A little over 6 years sober.
And started off as a peer.
Started
Nice.
off as treatment support
Treatment
at
support.
Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And then I
Doing
moved over
admissions and
here
intakes,
Yeah.
doing to Oasis doing treatment support. Then I left for a couple of years, got a couple degrees, and now I'm back as a
Just got a
therapist.
couple of degrees, whatever. So this whole cabin is about therapy. This is the whole theme of the thing.
It's all outpatient. It symbolizes our continuation of care. So with Recovery Centers Arkansas and Oasis Renewal, residential treatment, PHP, IOP, other outpatient services, and then sober living is, we want to wrap all that around the person.
So when they're outpatient, does that mean that they're coming here on their own free will, and then they
Or
take
they're
off
accessing
afterwards?
they're doing that, or they're accessing our resources that we provide them. I mentioned to you about the recovery housing and how we've been able to diversify some of those beds,
Right.
Based on the need for supportive housing while they enter into a level of PHP. And so we have that people can access, or they're welcome to come in and do it on their own accord.
Great, yeah.
But we don't want there to be any barriers. And if there are those obstacles, we want to help navigate that with the person.
That makes sense.
It's a big deal to us. So we have the main lake and we have 2 ponds. So it gives us a total of 3 bodies of water out here.
Beautiful.
Have like evening groups or weekend groups. This is kind of their living space, basically, like a living room, because you can't mingle together except for in here.
Oh, okay.
So men and women can't mingle together.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Or in here.
Yeah, we have separate cabins. So we have men cabins and women's cabins, and family is a big part of what we do here. So we have family groups that we do on Sundays, and the families will come in, and the person in treatment will get to spend some time with their family and things like that. Want to incorporate the family in all that we do.
Yeah, for sure.
We realize that addiction is a family disease, and so
Yeah.
And that's kind of gives them that family environment to sit together and watch movies together and do things like that while they're here.
Bond with other people that are going through the same situations, and you can relate. Yeah.
absolutely.
So they come in here and they cook for themselves over here?
No, Chef Sebastian does, but the Zuzus and Wham Whams, they've got to have access to all that.
Okay,
So,
so all the
they're
prepackaged
able to,
stuff.
they're able to bring non-perishable
Yeah.
food items in and things like
There are
that.
little cabinets that they stick their snacks and
Yeah.
goodies in.
Oh,
So it
okay.
makes it feel more like home.
Yeah.
Yeah, with food delivery, it's really, people have been able to step their snack game up and order like from Walmart. And, so we'll have deliveries come in. Of course, we have staff that go through all those things.
Okay, I was curious
with
about
the
that.
person to be sure that there's nothing in there.
Of course.
going to be contraband or something they're not
Yeah.
supposed to have. So yeah.
So what's included in contraband?
Well, so here they're able to vape, but it has to be an FDA approved vape.
Okay.
You can smoke or use smokeless tobacco. At the Oasis, they are able to have those things on them. But any kind of contraband, of course, we don't want any kind of energy drinks. We don't want the cell
Really?
phones,
Okay.
or other electronic devices that could be used as a form of communication. We're not going to allow them to have their laptop or computer. On a case-by-case basis, if we know that somebody, that's how they pay their bills, or they need to log in for something for school that they already have established or a job.
Sure.
On a case-by-case basis, we'll give them an opportunity to do some of those things, but it's always in the presence of their therapist or
limited.
counselor. Yeah, because we don't want there to be any distractions, and it just takes one thing to set somebody down a rabbit hole that they don't need to go.
Yeah.
It really does. Of course, we want to stay away from any kind of paraphernalia. We don't want any pornography or anything like that coming into the facility, things like that. So those are some of the examples of different contrabands.
Yeah.
And some of the movies, we have don't have to movies and books that we kind of restrict. We don't want any movies that have too much violence or drug use, or you never know what might trigger somebody. So
That's
we try really
True.
hard to make sure we're not
And
letting them have that kind of access.
Yeah, we're very mindful, very trauma informed, and we don't want to ever do anything to trigger somebody's trauma response. And we have to be very mindful. And that's something that we work with the people we serve to help them be mindful of that, because that's a big deal. It really is. We know that 85% of everybody that we see suffers from trauma.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. We have to be very mindful of that.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, let's go check
Yeah.
out the cabin.
So this cabin over here is our addiction recovery counselors cabin.
Okay.
So kind of like we have the therapist cabin, it's also their own little space to be able to do their little sessions and private as well. So
Yeah, and a workout room.
Yeah, there's-
Absolutely.
So this one is all women's cabin, and of course, there's always more men than women. And so we have one women's cabin that holds 8 women.
Keep in mind, Kyle, when you walk in here, we have a really good Airbnb rate for you.
All right. Smells good. That's a plus.
That's really good.
Yeah. That's great.
We have really great housekeepers that take care of
Those are
the cabins.
thick
Yeah, we got the
mattresses.
mattresses that kind of wrap around you.
They give you a hug right there. Yeah, you can sleep.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Wow.
Of course, there's all kinds of wildlife. We have bobcats, deer,
Yeah.
the raccoons.
Of course.
And then we always have
all over the place.
a healthy,
Geese, yeah.
yeah, and that's
That's a
you have to
serious
know
thing.
where you're at, and so we really try to prohibit the clients from feeding the wildlife.
That
Yeah.
does not happen.
It's-
They feed them
Oh, sure.
all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
And so then they expect every person that walks through to
Well,
feed
the
them.
Zuzus and Wham Whams. There's
Yeah,
something to the.
yeah.
Okay.
And when we don't feed them, they don't get very happy because we're not feeding them.
Hi. Good. Ty. Nice to meet you. You work here, I assume.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. You're not somebody who's living here.
I'm
Okay,
the
great.
admissions manager.
Oh, great. Nice to meet you.
So we get applications,
Mm-hmm.
and if they have insurance, we check insurance benefits. We call them, do a screening interview,
Yeah.
and then pass that info to the director for approval,
That's great.
and then get them scheduled.
How often do people that are applying have insurance?
More often than not.
Really?
But we also have quite a few like traditional Arkansas Medicaid.
Okay.
And for them, we can't bill Medicaid,
Right.
but we have state funding available, so
Oh,
we
great.
can screen for admission under that.
That's
And
incredible.
that's one thing that when they come into like Williamsburg or Sibley, we're going to make sure that they're getting the case management to help them get the insurance so that
Yeah.
if they have to come back or if they have to go anywhere else, that they can get quality care no matter where they go. Because, I mean, that way they're getting the psychiatrist, they're getting the licensed therapist, they're getting all of it.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that they're actually getting on insurance rather than just Medicaid.
Yeah.
We're filling that
So-
application out with them, and they will have either temporary Medicaid or they'll have a exchange policy
Yeah.
by the time they leave residential treatment, and then they can utilize
Right.
or step into PHP and start to step down through the continuum of
Yeah.
care. So
What's like the best case scenario when somebody applies? You're like, oh, this is a shoe-in.
Best case scenarios, we can get them scheduled by the next day.
I mean, are there certain markers that you look for when somebody applies?
Oh, yeah. Well, so if it looks like, I mean, if they need detox, we'll definitely help coordinate that.
Okay.
We'll make sure that they get that before they come in with us, because we don't offer detox services right now.
What are the big red flags that you look for?
Big red flags. So if it looks like their mental health might be
Okay.
primary to substance use disorder, we may refer them for mental health stabilization
Yeah.
and then rescreen once they're stabilized.
That's interesting. So it's not the end of the road for them, even if
It's
they have
not.
to go and get treatment. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
Next, I met recovery counselor Blake, who actually went through the program and then built his career off of helping people do the same thing for him. Nice to meet you,
I'm a
Blake.
recovery counselor here, but I'm also alumni.
Really?
So yeah, I went to the Riverbend campus in 2019, and I was a federal client. So they have a federal contract, and that campus is now split between the Williamsburg campus and the Sibley Center campus.
Okay.
And yeah, I was co-ed at Riverbend, and but the clients from Oasis and the clients from Riverbend both ended up at Williamsburg. Well, or sober living. That was the sober living campus. And so I stayed there for a while, and then I went to Steeplechase for like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
I came to work here while I was still living at Steeplechase.
That's incredible.
So yeah, I've kind of stayed close to Recovery Centers of Arkansas this whole time.
Has that been the one and only recovery center that you've gone through, recovery program? No?
I've been through Hoover, or Better Community Development.
Okay.
I've been through there, and I want to say it was 2015 is when I went through there. But I still wanted to do it my way. I wasn't ready to completely abstain just yet. And yeah, I think by the time I made it to Riverbend, I had had enough consequences and the right staff at the right time asking me the right questions.
Yeah.
Really allowed me to be introspective enough to realize, like, if I keep doing it my way, it's going to keep ending the same way
Yeah.
or worse.
What do you think was different about, I mean, obviously the environment's very different out here, right? It's beautiful. Like, it's crazy. How could you not be serene and like open up new doors to your mind? You know what I mean? But, like, the city is gone, the traffic's gone. Like, you can actually just sit and like be with
People
yourself.
definitely find themselves here. They find, a higher power. They find themselves, and I think nature has a big part in that.
Yeah.
We also, really embrace the co-occurring aspect, and so we treat, the mental health along with the recovery, or with the substance abuse.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the clients, they have the serene, nature here, but they also have professionals that they're meeting with on a regular basis every week, psychiatry, therapy, and then substance abuse counseling. And so the quality of care is really, really high compared to what I've ever experienced as a client.
Yeah.
And that's my only perspective here at Oasis Renewal Center is as a staff member. And so I think that it would be naive to think that our clients that leave here aren't at an advantage.
Yeah.
I do believe that. And I do know that, Recovery Centers of Arkansas and our executive director are doing everything they can to make that same quality of care across the board for all of our campuses.
Right.
And so, albeit they might not be here with the beautiful scenery, they're still going to get that same level of care as far as the counseling, the therapy, and the psychiatry.
Of course.
And, medication management that goes along with that.
I mean, you're a living testament of it, right? Because you get to this and like, no, it's
Incredible to come here.
Right.
And I succeeded, thus far,
Right.
we're 6 years and some odd months.
That's a huge amount of time, though, honestly, in recovery. Yeah.
Yeah. So September, if I can talk, February 22nd, 2019 is when I the first day that I was drug and alcohol free.
Sobriety day.
Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Something to really celebrate for sure. So what made you want to turn around? I mean, obviously once you find sobriety, like the world is your oyster. You can find a career in doing anything in the world, but you're like, I want to help people do exactly what they did for me.
I think that played a big role in it. But at the same time, I really wasn't too interested in doing it for other places outside of recovery centers of Arkansas.
Yeah.
I've played, toyed with that idea, but I just don't, what this company stands for. And, the fact that we provide free services year round, means that we're reaching a population of people that wouldn't normally be able to get
Of course.
help.
Yeah.
I value that. I value that tremendously. And so, that's something that message is what I'm here to fulfill. And here, that what we do here at Oasis is what allows our other campuses to operate year round, and offer those services. And so that's something that I take really seriously. But as far as working in the field of treatment and recovery, it's very fulfilling. I get to talk recovery all day, and that's something that I'm passionate about and something that I really care about. And I think that shows in work. If you enjoy what you do for work, then you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
And I think I found that. Now, is substance abuse my calling? Maybe not. There might be a time where I transition over to the mental health side. But either way, I'm still helping people, and I'm helping people that are like me. And I think that's what, I don't think it takes a recovering alcoholic to be a good counselor or therapist.
Sure.
But I do think that the relatability can be beneficial.
Right. How do the people receive you when you're like, hey man, I've been there where you've been, and look what I'm doing now, and like you're supposed to be helping them.
Well, I think it instills hope.
Yeah.
I think it instills hope. I'm probably a little bit more rigid than most because the recovery in me, only wants people that are willing and are done doing it their way. But that's not what treatment is. These clients, they're not in recovery. They're in treatment. The recovery doesn't happen until they leave here. And so
So that's interesting. So describe to me what the difference is between those two.
Okay. So treatment is, I have to meet them where they are, right? And not everybody comes here because they're done drinking and using. People come here because their parole officer suggested that they get some help, or their wife or their husband suggested they get some help. There's ultimatums, and people come for all various reasons, but the reason that they come and the reason that they stay doesn't have to be the same. And so it's my job to plant those seeds and to make sure that when they do leave here, they're better equipped. They have a different understanding of what recovery means, and that it's not just about not drinking and not using. It's about improving their overall quality of life. And, everybody's path is different. Here we facilitate a 12-step path, but that's not what everybody plans to do when they leave. And so I have to meet them where they are, right? Because I practice an abstinence-based 12-step program of recovery, but that's not what everybody that comes in here is willing to do or going to do when they discharge. And so, I meet them where they are and then help facilitate, whatever their needs may be upon discharge, as far as pathway to recovery or, whatever. Everybody has their own journey, and we never know where we're going to land along that journey. And I hope I'm at the end of it, where they're done doing it their way and they're ready to do something different. But sometimes we're at the very beginning. They got to go do a lot more research and suffer a lot more before they find out that they're going to have to do something different. And that's kind of what happened with me. Is I did it my way enough times and failed to where I exhausted all of my resources,
right?
And I had to do it a different way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Incredible. Does it help you in your personal recovery as you're helping these people here?
Yes and no. I think that many people, myself included, have made the mistake of utilizing their occupation as their recovery program. And it just can't be. I have to work my own program, outside of this. I have a sponsor. I go to meetings and I do things of service for the fellowship. And so it's not something that I'm able to, replace with an occupation now, because I'm surrounded by in recovery, we talk about the problem and the solution. Here, I'm surrounded by the problem a little bit more.
Okay.
I'm talking about the solution, but the clients, they're just not there yet. They're still, they still have their own ideas. They still are, a lot of them are still in that self-pity, victim stance. They have, cognitive distortions, and it's my job to help, offer a different perspective. But and a lot of it is based on my own experience as one being in recovery. But yeah, this is not, I don't get what I need to fill my cup, right?
Yeah.
I need other recovering people, right? And remember, this is treatment, not recovery.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that answer that question?
It does, yeah. And then you've given me something interesting that I never really thought about the difference between the treatment and the recovery, like the timeline, I guess, that it has to happen when a person is, I guess, you're court ordered, or you're like whatever, for whatever reason, like it's mandatory for you to go through this.
Yeah.
And then helps them sort of get through that process. And I guess there's sort of a diverging path. There's the ones that realize, you know what, I need to get into recovery. And then there's those that are like, well, I just did the mandatory thing for me. Now I get to go on here my stuff again. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And I think that's probably what my disposition was prior to, going to Riverbend in 2019, was I'm just going to do the bare minimum, whatever the courts are requiring me to do.
Yeah.
And nothing more than that.
Right.
And it really took a bottom sufficient enough to want to change for me to even entertain the idea of embracing recovery and sponsorship and meeting attendance at service work. It took a gift of desperation. That's what it takes for most of us, is we have to reach a point where we are done living that way, But yeah, I learned, as far as the treatment and recovery thing, that's something that I learned here. When I first came to work here in 2022, I was surrounded by very talented, professionals. And, I came in with this very much rigid, no nonsense, 12-step approach to recovery. Like, if you don't want it, if you're not willing, then there's the door, and that I was, coached and that those were opportunities for growth for my colleagues to say, well, Blake, look, this is not recovery. They're not in recovery yet. They're in treatment. So your job as a counselor is to meet them where they are, because if you just if you preach the recovery, program and the big book and all the things that you have utilized for your own personal recovery, you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
Right. You have to meet them where they are. And then once they become receptive to that, then you can get into that.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that was something that I learned here. It's all about growth,
Yeah.
I think we all develop as, people and what we're doing for our work. And that was something that I really embraced early on, was that, these folks they're just not there yet.
Yeah, for sure. I keep seeing the triangles. I don't know if those are, I know this used to be a Christian camp, right? And they're sort of everywhere. And I saw it on your bracelet. Any relation at all?
Yeah, that is a recovery. It's symbolic for recovery.
Really?
It's a particular fellowship that it symbolizes.
Okay.
But yeah, due to the tradition of said fellowship, I'm not allowed to disclose.
Oh, it's an exclusive club.
Anonymity. That's right. And so, I always maintain my personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films.
Got you. Interesting. All right. Blake, this has been great. Thank you so much for sitting down. And Jerry, I think you're lucky to have you here as an employee. I mean, you know your stuff, and you're very good about projecting exactly what it is you need to hear people say. So
Thanks for that, Todd.
Yeah, for sure.
Another main feature of Oasis is the food. The chef here makes some of the most delicious meals, and the food here is actually part of the healing process through nutrition. After we ate, we headed back to the conference room for another interview before we left.
I have the pleasure of sitting with
Brittany.
Brittany. Nice to meet you, Brittany.
That's so nice to meet you.
What is your connection with Oasis?
So I am a recovery counselor here.
Nice.
I am the recovery counselor for the partial hospitalization and IOP program. I facilitate groups, I have individual sessions, and I'm also an alumni from RCA.
Really?
Yes.
And those are the best ones, I think, that have gone through the process and like you understand what it was like for you.
Yeah.
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 So does that help you in your career?
It helps me so much because I feel like it helps me be able to meet the client exactly where they're at because I've walked in their shoes and I've sit on that side of the table and I don't know the connection that I get with them. It will blow your mind. The way that they will open up whenever you just share a little bit about yourself and
Yeah.
you can see that like when they're hurting, you can see like I've been there too, and
Mhm.
it just builds that connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. So if I was going to pick a spot that I could just like set my office up, you know what I mean? It would be like this. It's beautiful out here, right?
Nature,
Yeah.
the nature, that's what all the clients talk about is how the nature really helps them be able to ground themselves and stuff.
Of course, the city noise is gone, even though you're still, I guess, technically in Little Rock, right?
Yeah.
It's
Right on the outside.
Rossall Vacanus, which is like one of the busy parts of West Little Rock.
Yeah.
But it feels like you're in a camp somewhere on a mountain.
It
Yeah,
does.
really.
It's so serene.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
So what is your approach to, I guess, when you're providing your services and therapy to people that are coming in, whether they're new or might be the second or third time that they're trying to get into recovery, right?
So my background is I am a psychology major, so I kind of mix a little bit of those approaches, like with not necessarily therapy because I'm not a therapist, but I'm able to use a lot of like the Carl Jung stuff
Of
and
course.
the Freudian approaches, and I love like the existential approaches and stuff, and I'm able to use some of that, but a lot of it I use the 12-step stuff because that was the only thing that I was able to grab onto that showed any kind of results in my life
Really?
because I just celebrated 8 years sober. And
Congratulations.
I tried it every which way. I tried it faith-based way. I tried it willpower alone. Nothing worked for me until I truly surrendered. And so I try to meet them where they're at, but then throw in mixes of AA from the big book. And I would say 90% of the time, they just pick it right up. And
Really?
it's such a beautiful thing to see the light come on with it.
That's incredible.
Yeah. We do a lot of life skill stuff too, like with building their resumes and trying to get them a job before they finish the program so that they don't have to worry and stress about that. And that's taken one of those triggers off of their plate, and I have resources score for that, of course. And we do a lot with the life skills though, because I know that that's like a basic survival instinct that I don't want them to have to worry about before they leave me.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So for you, what was the big change for you when you were coming into recovery? Like, what was that big moment, or was there one when you were like, I've got to do something different?
Yeah, so RCA was actually my 6th treatment center that I went to, and it was a direct result from a federal indictment. So legal consequences is what started the process to like get me to surrender, I guess you could say. I'm so grateful for it today. But I was incarcerated for 2 years, and it was part of my federal pretrial conditions to come to a residential treatment center. And so I went to Riverbend, which is old RCA, and I had that 2 years of dry out period to where I feel like I was just thinking, I've got to do something different with my life.
Yeah.
And whenever I finally came to RCA at Riverbend and did that 30-day program, I was able to absorb all the knowledge that my counselors were trying to shove down my throat. And
Yeah.
I am so grateful for my 2 counselors that were there because I know that without them and their patience and their tolerance with me, like I wouldn't be where I am today. And RCA's Continuum of Care of me going into sober living, and I was there for 15 months at Williamsburg, and then I transitioned over to the Steeplechase Apartments and was there for 3 years, and it gave me that accountability and taught me how to be an adult. Yes,
It's incredible.
and it's just
Yeah.
it blows my mind, and it just the gratitude is overwhelming that I'm able to give back just a small portion of what they gave to my life
Yeah.
by working here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, recovery has like a stigma to it. You know what I mean? Whenever you talk about somebody that's ever had a substance use issue, or like they're trying to go out into the world, or if they've been incarcerated before, and you've got to check that little box every time you have a application. Doesn't matter how great your resume is, but that one thing sort of mattered to employers. But you sort of defying expectations with I mean, like there is a stigma of like, well, somebody that comes out, like they might work in a factory or something like that. But
Yeah.
you became a psychiatrist.
I am a recovery counselor, not the psychiatrist.
You're not a psychiatrist.
No.
Okay.
I went to school while I was on federal pretrial, and I ended up getting my bachelor's degree on federal pretrial. And then I had to go to federal prison sober. And
Yeah.
then when I got out and did my home confinement, I came to work for RCA.
Wow.
And I'm just so grateful that they took a chance on me.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What made you want to enter that of all things that you could do?
It's just a passion. I love being around people that were in that same darkness that I was in, and to be able to see the light come on and be on the front lines with them and this early in their recovery and just kind of showing them the way, it's so fulfilling for me. And it's not my program, but it definitely gives me purpose in life. And I just feel like this is where I'm meant to be.
That's great. I just had a really interesting conversation with Blake before you came in here, and I sort of asked him, I was like, well, with you, because he has lived experience as well. And just like, do you see yourself in the people that you're helping here? And he sort of like surprised me by his answer. He said he has to keep those two separate, where he's like, my recovery is my recovery. What I'm doing at work is part of their recovery, but I can't apply it to myself.
Yes. And I do see myself in a lot of them. And that's the beauty of like all of the different clinicians that work here is we all have a different approach to it. And like I see the hopeless, desperate, just existing addict or alcoholic on the other side of me. And it's like, that was me. And it gives me hope that I'm going to be able to pour into them because I was sitting there and I was feeling those same emotions just 8 years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's what kind of gives me the drive to continue to pour into them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And you've seen a lot of really great results because of that, I'm sure. Yeah.
And being able to see the clients like in meetings and stuff, because like Blake said, my program is separate. So I still pour into myself where I won't be able to pour into them.
Yeah.
And to be able to see them in meetings picking up their 30, 60, 90-day chips, it just solidifies that I'm right where I need to be and I'm doing my higher powers work.
Do you see a visible change from the people that are like when they first come in here and versus however long they're here, through the weeks? Do you see them like turning into another person before your eyes?
And that is the beauty of working in PHP is like we get to see them come into residential broken and just beat down. And there's some that are even, visibly like their shoulders sagging and are looking down. And by the time they get up to us, they have this whole new light about them. And it's like we get the best of them almost.
That's the good part. Yeah, that's awesome. So goals. Like is this what you want to do with the rest of your life?
This is
counseling or
stepping stone. I have applied for grad school to be a social worker, and I really want to do not private practice. I want to give back more to RCA, but I definitely want to do my niche in addiction with therapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is your niche in addiction there? Like, is it just in therapy in general, or like how you handle therapy?
Addiction, PTSD, but I definitely want to work with this population for the rest of my life.
That's incredible.
Yes.
I'm sure it helps with your personal journey and
Everything.
I feel like they would better trust you because you have been there in the same spot that they've been in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so fulfilling. I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you seem to have the best staff too. Everybody here has been great.
We are like a family here.
Yeah.
It's like when you come into work, it's more than just, okay, we've got this client together. It's a whole treatment team that you can bounce ideas off of. And we have client-centered care here. And that's the beauty and the special thing about RCA is what works for one client may not work for the next. So it's not like a cookie cutter approach plan,
Right.
treatment plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else we should know about this place in particular?
It's so special.
Yeah.
And I know that everyone probably says that about their treatment centers, but we come to work because it's something that we love to do. We're not just here for a paycheck. We don't clock in, clock out. Like we are doing stuff behind the scenes, off the clock all the time for our clients. Yeah.
Wow.
And it makes it a lot more special.
Yeah, for sure. I see all the little painted rocks and everything that's everywhere around here. It's like
Legacy rocks.
they got it. Yeah.
People like to leave their legacy rocks. They'll put something on it that means something to them. And it's cool because it's like they leave a little piece of themselves here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Incredible.
great.
From the beautiful cabins of the Oasis, we made our way over into the heart of Little Rock, where Williamsburg is located. This facility in particular is something that offers residential treatment and long-term sober living exclusively for men, but its main focus is for those in recovery that are about to re-enter the workforce.
Hey, Matthew.
How's it going? So I think we met in person before, but Matthew, so good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you again
I'm
too.
so terrible with faces and names and stuff, but I know Matthew a bunch, the name from Facebook, and we're our friends online, and like I know you've been involved in recovery and things.
Yeah.
What do you do here at this facility?
So I'm treatment support. I also have my CIT, so I'm a counselor in training.
Okay.
So I facilitate groups, but my main role at this moment is to do the intake process for the clients that are coming into treatment.
Yeah.
I do all their paperwork, their screening, and just make sure that they get checked in. And I'm I oversee their medications. I'm not a nurse or anything, so I just observe them. Refilling.
You're not administering medication. Yeah.
But I observe them, make sure that all their medicines are that they have what they need throughout the week, and pick those up. And so my ultimate goal is to be recovery counselor. Going to school for social work now, and
nice.
But that's basically my role here, though, for at the moment.
That's incredible. What's involved in the process of screening someone?
So admissions does the initial screening, but whenever they come in, we have a packet of paperwork that they fill out. It's got their emergency contact information, background information, and then we go over their substance use history, and things like that. And then if they have medications, we'll set those up, and I load everything into their chart and take them back there to their room, and that's basically the admissions process.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're working on being a CIT, counselor in training.
Yeah.
What makes you want to do that?
So my passion is to kind of give back and help people. I know with me struggling with addiction in my life, I have a unique qualification to kind of meet people where they are, because they know that I've been there. Whenever you have someone in recovery who you know has been there and that can relate to you, then it helps. You can get down on their level and they know that you understand.
Yeah.
And it's my passion to just give back, because there was a point in my time whenever I thought that there was no hope for me. I thought that I was too old, that it was too late. But somebody gave me hope, and just to be able to give back means the world to me.
You see a lot of guys coming through here, and you're like, you sort of see yourself in them too, where they feel like, they were probably at the end of their rope as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love sharing, I don't do a lot of self-disclosure, but I do let them know, hey, I've been where you are. I will get a little bit of background just to let them know, like, hey, I've been through this. I've been to prison 4 times, and I was able to make it out. I'm completely off probation and parole now. I have a relationship with my son, and I'm back in school, all after 20 plus years of addiction. So it's possible. Yeah.
Are they surprised whenever you tell them that? Because you don't look like the kind of guy that's been in prison 4 times,
Yeah, they're definitely surprised. And, that's kind of the theme that I use. Like, I'm a completely new person. I'm not the person that I was anymore. Especially if you know me in my past, then you'll know, like, wow, you are not the same person. And I just say, this is possible for you too. Like, never give up. Yeah, that's the message that I give, because like I said, I was there too.
Yeah, you find it that the guys are like, it's easier for them. I know you said it's easier to relate because of that, but do they initially start trusting you past that point, or does it take a while to earn that trust from them?
It just depends on the individual.
Yeah.
Not everybody that comes through here have been career criminals such as myself, but definitely the people who had been to prison in and out, whenever I share that with them, they open up. 9 times out of 10. Sometimes every once in a while you'll get somebody who doesn't really want to open up, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
But for those people, I just feel like that they may not be completely ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I get good results from it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's so different about this facility or, recovery centers of Arkansas than you think is being provided anywhere else?
So we are the only, not the only, but we are one of the few who offers services through a grant free of charge to people that otherwise wouldn't be able to pay for the services. So it opens up the doors for a lot of people to get help.
Yeah, of course.
And so I know that we get a lot of the block funding. And even what I love about this facility in particular is even whenever that grant money runs out, we still provide services for the people who, like, we don't stop providing services just because we don't have any more money left. Everybody gets an opportunity to get help if they're seeking it.
That's such rare and incredible quality to have in an organization like this, right?
Yeah.
Especially I've been around for over 20 something years, right?
Well, this facility has been like, I want to say like 30 to 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest
Yeah.
centers in the state. But yeah, it's an honor to work here. And my brother, he just went through treatment at here and was able to help him. And he didn't have insurance, so like he wouldn't have been able to pay for it. But thanks to the passion, everybody all the way up to the top is passionate about helping people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely part of the company culture. Everyone we talked to today, all the different facilities have been so adamant about supporting each other, emotionally, spiritually, and everything else, you know what I mean? And be like, hey, take time for yourself. And then also showing up for the people that go through the programs in the same way. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And it must be, I don't know, like I wish everybody could find a job or did that for you, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the dream.
It's rare.
Yeah.
And for me, it's especially special because I was a client here at one time. I came through here in 2019 in the old building in North Little Rock. It was called Riverbend.
Yeah, we've heard about that.
And I did my 30-day treatment there, and then I came to live here at this facility for in their sober living.
Yeah.
I was here in the sober living for a little over 11 months. I did end up going to prison, but I got out, and I went to selling cars for a little bit because that's kind of my background.
Okay.
Once I got on my feet, I got the opportunity to come work here, which it was a massive pay decrease, but I kind of just trust in God to provide for me because this is where my passion is. And I know it'll be worth it in the long run. But yeah, being able to come back here to the place where that helped me in my journey, is amazing.
Absolutely. So this is my first time touring the facility, of course, and this will be the first time that my viewers, see, the inside of an RCA, even if they've heard about it, or I doubt that they know all the different facilities or like what goes on inside. What's one thing that you hope that we bring away from this experience?
I just hope that it continues to spread the RCA name, and that we can just get more people into treatment that need help, and to spread the message like, hey, if you don't have the resources to get into treatment, don't worry, because like there are resources that can help you even if you don't have the money to pay. Like that's our main goal. And I just hope that people might even that know me from my past could even see and say, wow, like look at him, and he's working for the treatment facility that he got sober at, because I guarantee you if people that knew me in my past saw where I am now, then it would definitely give them hope, because
Absolutely.
I was broken down.
So we always encourage people to share this episode with somebody that you need, needs to hear the message, because the worst thing that can happen is that they won't listen to it.
Yeah.
But the best thing it can do is that it saves their life. And so to hearing that, like, I don't have to have, financial resources or insurance to be able to go through recovery, like that just seems too good to be true.
Right.
That's what you guys are doing. We've seen that over and over today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. It's a real thing. It's not too good to be true. And that's what we do.
While I was setting up my cameras for the next interview, I definitely met one of the most interesting characters I've ever met.
Hey, young man.
Ma'am, Are you ready? Is that your posing shot? Okay, here you go.
Hey,
You're gonna be on the 5 o'clock news tonight.
my name is Jardine, and I'm the housekeeper, and I keep everything up here clean.
I heard that you weren't just a housekeeper. You were the best housekeeper in Arkansas. That's what I just
That's
heard.
right. Oh,
Yeah.
scratch that.
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, my name is Jardine Luster, and I'm the best housekeeper up here ever, and I keep everything clean, and this man right here, it's my friend Adam, and then Rain.
He's going to meet him. He's going to meet everybody. He's going to meet all your other friends.
Okay.
Is there anybody here you don't approve of?
I know, and then why I'm on TV. My favorite thing is chicken, hamburger, and my favorite color is pink.
All right.
And again, this right here, my friend Adam. And thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
You're the best. We have treatment support
After that
offices.
funny and very sweet little interview we did there, I got the full tour of the rest of the Williamsburg facility to see what it is exactly that they do there.
So we're kind of split up. So at this point, of course, we have our treatment operations support staff desk. So, at all our facilities, Ty, we're fully staffed 24/7. And so after hours, when all the administrative and clinical staff are gone, we always have people here to assist with client needs and schedules and all that. So on this side of the hall, we have our veterans housing program as well as our residential program, and everything over here is all our sober living. So we have 31 total sober living rooms. Some of those rooms are diversified to meet the needs of, the people we serve. So 6 VA rooms. So these are the rooms here that you have that have keypads on them, because under that contract, the Veterans Housing Program, we keep them separate from our guys down here. They're not here through the day. They're only here after 4 o'clock in the afternoon on weekends and holidays. But this is what a typical room's going to look like.
Yeah.
And then with all the rooms down here, they all have a half bath. So all the guys share a half bath, and then we have, of course, our showers and laundry facilities are also on this floor for those guys. So, Ty, do you want to go next door? Do you have anything to look at next door that you feel comfortable with as far as steeplechase?
I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Right. Well, let's just go over and kind of, definitely, you need to see the building. So, I had shared with you about our Continuum of Care and how people can access residential treatment and then complete that program and step into one of our outpatient programs, whether it's PHP, IOP, or just our basic outpatient program here, and access sober living. Mm-hmm. The final step for them, because RCA, is wanting to meet the needs of everybody that we serve. A lot of people exiting or coming out of sober living still have those legal issues. They still have credit issues.
Yeah.
They have those past utility bills that they can't, can't make the deposits on and stuff like that. So back in the early 2000s, we purchased Steeplechase Apartments, which is right next door. And so it's a 26-unit apartment complex, and it's strictly for sober living. It's chemical free, but it's their own private apartment.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to see somebody come to residential treatment and take the time and invest in themselves and work themselves all the way through the program into their own apartment. It's been really cool, man. Seeing it, got the chance to see that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. It's just been really amazing. And they're all efficiency apartments, so it's all utilities paid. We're taking care of that for them while they're here. This is the ultimate launch pad for a person early in recovery.
That's wild.
It's not meant to be a long-term.
Sure.
I did it.
Worked for you?
Mike did it,
I lived here for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then bought my own home.
Incredible.
Yeah.
We're downtown. Where were we at? Central.
This would be
Midtown. Midtown. I live in Little Rock, and I always get confused by when everybody's trying to tell me it's Southwest. So yeah, I'm like, I don't know where the lines lay.
Yeah, so we're Midtown over here.
It's incredible. So you love working here? I assume. And what is your title?
So I am the resident recovery coordinator.
Yeah.
I manage all of our sober living facilities,
Great.
male and female. So we have another location, a female location. So I manage that sober living.
Yeah.
And then we have an apartment complex next door that I manage as well. As long as I also manage some of our outpatient programs too.
Nice. So what gets you into that type of work, and like what makes you motivated and like, this is what I want to do with my life?
So I'm a person in long-term recovery.
Great.
It's not just a job. Like I feel honored being able to witness somebody's journey in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about to me. I really enjoy seeing people get what I got.
Yeah.
Which is their life back.
Right. And do they sort of receive you, because you, like seeing you, obviously you were there where they are now, right? Right. Trying to get recovery. You said you even stayed in those apartments over there, right?
I did.
For 3 years.
I did.
And got on your feet, bought a house.
I did. I did. And it really is incredible. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's a miracle to think about where I was at a little over 8 years ago and where I'm at today.
Yeah.
8 years ago, I was knocking on death's door.
Mm.
I mean, I'd survived several overdoses.
Yeah.
I was just in a really dark place. It was hell.
Yeah.
It was hell. And where I am today, I just, the lights come back on. I've got relationships back with my kids and my family. And, both my parents have passed away since I've been in recovery, but they got to see me sober before they did. And it's just, it's a wonderful thing. It's a really wonderful thing. And it means the world to me to see other people accomplish that as well.
Yeah.
I get to share my story a lot, not as much here, but with a lot of other addicts that are in early recovery. I share my story a lot. And it just, it means the world to me, like I said, to see people come into recovery wanting and needing something, and to watch them go through the effort to make it happen and get to be a part of that. It's just, I love it. I love it. That's what I get up for every day.
Yeah. I think that's what it kind of takes, is that special type of, motivation, a bit like, because I can't imagine someone that hasn't been through, some sort of lived recovery and then coming into this and be like, this is what I want to do, because it takes a certain level of patience, I would imagine, to help these guys.
It takes a lot of patience. Yeah. It does, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
For sure.
Yeah.
What kind of changes have you seen, transformations to these lives? You mentioned yourself, you got restoration with your family. Mm-hmm. Is that a big part that you try to strive for the guys that come in here?
I do. I mean, I'm one to, I don't do the work for them, sure, but, I've seen people come in broken, just as broken as a person can get, in the same, I hear their stories a lot, and a lot of them are my story.
Yeah.
But to see people come in broken, where they feel helpless and hopeless and going through the same things, just in that dark place, and to watch the light come back on, to watch them go through residential treatment, and then want to continue the recovery and get into sober living, and whether it be continuing in PHP or outpatient, and then to watch them move from that into gainful employment, relationship with families. I've seen people come in who lost their kids to DHS, who now have their kids back.
Yeah.
And then to move into, whether it be our apartments or just another apartment, mm-hmm, or I've seen clients come in and do the things and go through residential and sober living, and then they're buying houses and working and, having the same relationships with their families. I see that firsthand every day.
So that's something new I've never seen before, is having an entire apartment building to your facility, right beside it. That's incredible.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. it was a big stepping stone for me. At my age, when I moved into Steeplechase, that was my first apartment of my own that I ever had in my life.
Wow.
And I've, at one time I was married and I had the house and the kids and I had all that, but I've never had in my entire life a place of my own. And that was it for me. I loved my little apartment. But it's a really big stepping stone, to see people be able to come in and just thrive, to see somebody who came in that broken and now to watch them thrive it's just what makes it all worth it.
Yeah, for sure. So do you see yourself doing this for a long time, or?
I don't see myself doing anything else.
Right.
I just don't. I found my niche. I think I found my calling. I spent my whole life trying to figure out what I wanted to be or what I wanted to do. And I've tried so many different things and honestly, I failed at most of them.
Yeah.
And this is something that I'm just not failing at. For the first time in my life, I look forward to waking up and going to work. I'm here before anybody else. I come to work early.
Yeah.
I come to work after hours. Anytime they need anything, I'm here for them because ultimately it's about the clients that we serve. It's what's in the best interest for them. And that's what keeps me going every day.
What do you think is so different about this recovery resource versus anywhere else someone could go?
So I don't know just a whole lot about other treatment centers because I didn't go through them.
Right.
I know, so I can easily compare it to like the 2 treatment centers that I went through. And something that was not offered to me when I was in treatment was the PHP scholarships. I think that's real unique. I think having everything under one umbrella, like when I was in treatment, if I wanted to do PHP or IOP, I had to finish the program I was at and then find another program. Where here you can stay within RCA. You don't have to leave. You can do your residential treatment here at RCA. You can do your PHP here at RCA. You can do your IOP here at RCA. And then even when you take it to that next step and move into your own apartment, you can do that here at RCA.
That is incredible.
You don't have to leave and look anywhere else.
Yeah.
I think that's what's really unique.
No, it definitely is.
Something else I also find unique about RCA is that your ability to pay doesn't matter. If you don't have insurance, we can still find a spot for you here.
Yeah.
And I love that everybody, no matter where you come from, what walk of life you are, we have the ability to serve you.
After our tour, I kept circling back to the question that I asked at the starting of this episode. What is it that people in recovery have that most of us don't know that could help us all? It's not just sobriety, it's the ability to feel an emotion without reacting to it. People in recovery are forced to master radical self-awareness, the ability to identify precisely what it is that they're feeling, why they are feeling it, and how that feeling connects to their deepest values and trauma. They learn to sit in discomfort, whether it's grief, anger, or even intense joy, without letting it trigger a destructive coping mechanism. The rest of the world? We learn to distract ourselves. We bury stress in work. We numb boredom with endless scrolling. We lash out when we feel cornered. We never build that pause button. But here, in these quiet, intentional spaces, they are learning how to build that pause. They are learning to process life in real time, sober and present. That, ultimately, is the greatest gift of recovery. A blueprint for emotional survival that every single human being needs. I left Recovery Centers of Arkansas feeling hopeful, not just for the residents I met, but for all of us, knowing the levels of healing that is possible. Thank you to Adam, Samara, and everyone at Recovery Centers of Arkansas for opening your doors to Longterm. If you or someone you know needs help, you can find links to their resources in the show notes. And if you're still here with me, I deeply appreciate you. The channel just crossed over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a huge milestone. Please be sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone that you know needs to hear it. Stay locked in here, and we will have much more content headed your way.